Displace filter, texture overlay. Hi guys, today we'll talk about a very interesting filter called Displace. With it you can distort one image using the texture of another. And this is how reflections, texture overlay on fabric and many other interesting effects are created. There are different ways to apply texture to fabric in Photoshop. Today we'll try to do this using the Displace filter. But in this way, you can not only, for example, apply texture to the fabric, but also, for example, create a reflection or some other interesting effects you would like to get about this result in the end. And to begin with, of course, I will take the ornament that I will use, and I will put it in the same file where I have the fabric. So, I have a small ornament. It would be better if its size was larger, but I think we can use this one for educational purposes. I take this ornament and I increase it so that it goes a little beyond our silk, because when distortion occurs, it will shrink a little bit, and so that the entire surface of the fabric is involved. We'll do this. Now we'll move on to the most interesting. We'll be creating a displace map. After all, it is with the help of it that our ornament will take the form of our fabric. I'm closing the layer with the ornament for now, so that it doesn't confuse us. Choose the layer with silk and go to the channels palette. Channels are generally an irreplaceable thing, and here they will be useful to us again. Now I have to choose the most contrasting channel. We can look at them. In other situation, of course, there may be another one. Now I need to create a new document from this channel. To do this, I right click and choose duplicate channel. And here, attention, our actions will be somewhat different from what we did earlier, because I will choose not the document in which we are working, but a new document. That is, a new document will be created from this channel. I choose a new one. I give it a name. Click OK. So we have a new document. Now I need to blur our texture a little, so that when we overlay, we don't have such rigid borders. To do this, we also use Gaussian blur, that we already know, and blur it to about this state. OK, that's it. We save the file in PSD format, File, Save, or Ctrl+S. Displace map, save. Back to our file where we started. We switch to RGB, layers. Turn on the layer on which we have our future pattern on the fabric. Make it active. Go to the filter menu. We choose the distort and select the displace. After that, we have this window where we select values depending on our image. I have already set values for this image. The horizontal and vertical value is 100, but for other cases the values may be different. And for example, when you make a reflection effect, the horizontal scale is usually larger than the vertical one. Save the remaining settings and click OK. After that, the software prompts us to select a file that will serve as the basis for distortion. Select our displacement map. Open, and that's what happened. But so far it doesn't look very impressive. But if we change the blending mode to overlap, then everything will become much more interesting. And look how naturally our pattern is overlaid on the fabric. You probably won't achieve such a perfect match in any other way. Although there are many ways to apply texture to fabrics, but there is one disadvantage here. After all, our drawing was much brighter initially. I would still like to make it brighter. To do this, I press Ctrl and click on the layer icon. I have a selection going on. I go to the foreground layer and press Ctrl+G. Thus, I have such a copy of our ornament. And now I'll desaturate this copy. Let me remind you, Image Adjustments Desaturate, or Shift+Ctrl+U. And look, immediately our ornament became much more active, much more vivid. But there is some problem with the color. Firstly, you can change the opacity, and then the drawing will also change. You can also work with brightness and contrast, image adjustments, brightness and contrast. And for example, you can reduce or edit it as you like, depending on what you want to get. The pattern itself includes a gradient, so I have such transitions here in the middle. That is, you can adjust something here at your discretion. Well, for example, let it be so. You can change the opacity here too. Choose a layer with an ornament and go into Image, Adjustments, Color Balance, Ctrl+B. And for example, you can work here already with shades. You can edit yellow, adjust shadows too, edit red. Well, in general, here you can have fun for a long time, somehow by adjusting all the sliders. So, I'll probably turn off this layer anyway, because it seems to me that it's still better that way. This is a fairly simple way, and with it you can create distortions of a variety of textures. As I said, you can for example create a reflection. You can try to do it yourself somehow. And I'm waiting for you to do this exercise. It was Peter Romanov and AIM School. See you next time.